Hi, I'm Maddie Brousseau. I'm a writer at Slapstick, and I'm really excited to interview you today. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you this afternoon?
Yeah, I'm doing really well. This is really exciting. So I just have a few questions for you, because I'm going to do a profile for the upcoming magazine print, and I'm really excited to get to interview you. I checked out some of your content on Instagram and Facebook, so that was really impressive. I was impressed by I thought you were really funny, and I'm really excited to ask these questions.
Uh, Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so the first question I have is just like, how long have you been working as a comedian in the industry?
Ah man, I'm rolling what they call an OG in the game. I'm getting close to like about 20 years now from my first ever performance. I don't believe it or not, I really don't know the dates of it because I never really was one of those people that was very into dates and everything. I just know it's about 2001, 2002, so it may be over 20 years, but did an open mic at this place called Jokers, and it's not even around anymore, and was working there. And then I went to a place called Wiley's Comedy Club, and matter of fact, Dave Chapelle just purchased the whole building. So we're still seeing what's going on with that, but that's what I still consider to this day my home club. So I hone my craft there, and I'll be there. Matter of fact, the 25th of June, closing out the show. So that's where I've been, man. And it's been a cool ride. A lot of I've met a lot of good people, a lot of famous people. Been on stage with a little bit of everybody, from comedians like Dave Chappelle to bands such as Parliament Funkadelic, opening up for them, and a little bit of everything in between. So that's where it's at right now.
Would you say Dave Chappelle working with him was one of the like highlights of your career, or was he one of your favorite people to work with, or do you have other
Very,
people that you like working with?
yeah, very cool guy, man. Very cool guy. He has a residence outside of Dayton in Yellow Springs. I don't know exactly his house. It's not like we drink coffee together every morning or nothing, but we see each other. We know each other on the first name basis. So very appreciative of the opportunities he's presented to me, and done a lot of things. I was just recently, about a month ago, I was at Funny Bone. I opened up for what's his name? Gary Owen. I did that. I did a week with him, so I'm working on a few other things. So I mean, I've been, like I said, I opened for the OJs, DL Hughley, Steve Harvey, and by time you kind of name it, especially black comics, I've kind of crossed paths with them. So it's been a real good thing. But yeah, working with Dave was a good highlight during my comedy journey.
Hmm. That's really cool. So what do you think inspired you to explore the world of comedy in the early 2000s? Like what inspired you and motivated you to do it full time?
Um, I can't really even explain it. I saw some people out there doing it that I knew, and I just kind of was like, hey, I'd like to give that a try. And tried it. I've always been. People tell me I'm a humorous guy away from the mic, much more before the mic. So kind of got on there and started doing my research, my homework, started learning the craft, and started learning the structures of being a stand-up comic. And it just started getting bookings, and I just kept going. So and now I get to do the traveling and everything, and it's still a process though. I'm hoping one day to be what they call an overnight sensation. 20 years later, and then boom, there it is.
Hmm. Is there a project in your career that you're most proud of? Could be a stand-up performance or a special.
Well, the ongoing project right now is I'm with a young guy named Jerrel Beamon, and we have a podcast called Unk and Nephew, Unk with a K, because we're kings out here. Or you could catch it on YouTube if you type in Unk and Nephew Pod. You'll see us on there. We getting a nice following right now. I also have a open mic night here in Dayton, Ohio. Tickle Me Tuesdays at a Bleacher Sports Bar that I do, and I just keep going. We working on skits. We doing different things. So we just working on expanding the brand right now. That's what we're doing.
What was the name? Owen, what was his last name?
Gary Owens.
Gary Owens. How'd you meet Gary Owens?
I mean, I had met Gary years ago doing
Mhm.
shows down at the old Funny Bone in Cincinnati or Northern Kentucky. So not sure if he remembered me or not, but a lot of times you just get called up by bookers or somebody will mention your name or something like that. And that's kind of how I, boom. Yeah, he'd be a good fit for me, this and that. And then we worked together. It was a good fit. So yeah, we kind of, when if he's regional, if he needs an opener, I'm there for him.
What's the biggest lesson you've learned throughout your career in comedy?
The biggest lesson, um, it's changed really. My biggest thing is from when I started, you could almost talk about anything to now. You just gotta, as you get more popular or get more of a platform, you kind of got to be careful of. You have to be cautious of what you say for the feedback you could get. That's one, and always continue to evolve with how you perform or what you say. Don't really just stay in one place. So, the jokes I told 5 years ago aren't the jokes I tell today. Some of them are, but most of them aren't. So it's
Mhm.
always an evolution of material.
When you're talking about being cautious of feedback, would you say that that's like some advice you'd give to up and coming performers, like to be deliberate and like not take all feedback seriously, or do you think it's important? What would
Um,
you say?
I would say, you got to be careful with how you present your material. Like everything can be talked about, but everything won't be perceived as funny if it's not presented in a funny fashion. So, what I'm saying, what you may think could be a joke for you may be offensive to somebody else. So make sure that as you present this, you do it in front of the right audience. You make sure the venue is receptive of the material, because different venues have different rules nowadays. So we have a lot of different communities out here, to say it in a kind way. So just make sure how you present is first of all, make sure it's funny, because it's got to be funny. And like I said, people are a lot more sensitive today than they were just 10 years ago. So that's about the biggest part of it. Or you could take your chances, and if it doesn't come off as funny, you'll just probably get less and less bookings or invitations to mics or whatever like that.
Hmm. So like when it comes to like performing in different venues to different crowds, would you say it's more important for you to write jokes down before you perform, or do you like improving as well to see like to feel out the crowd where you're
For,
performing?
for me, it's a combination of both. I kind of like to read the crowd, see what's going on, kind of looking out there, see who's in the crowd, what is it, a diverse crowd? Is it majority white, black, women, young, old? So I'm looking at all that. I'm looking at uh what are they there for? Is it a party right here? Is it a bachelorette? Bunch of guys. So for me, I'm more of a conversationist in my comedy. So I'm talking with dialogue, telling stories and everything, and blending the comedy into the subject matter. So as I go through my set, I can kind of juggle jokes or on the fly. I could just shift things around. Like if something's going on right there. Oh, let me get that joke going right now, or going into that subject versus just going up there doing like jokes like joke one, joke two, joke three, joke four. So I got the unique talent to be able to just kind of talk to people and also incorporate the jokes. It's kind of like a magician. It's an illusion, but it just looks like one big long conversation. They walk out of there like, wow, that was amazing. We just came up there and talked, and I was like, it was really scripted. Kind of like wrestling, there's we gonna improv it, but we know which way we're gonna go.
Interesting. Yeah. So when you say you're a conversationalist, you like interacting with the crowd. So what are like the pros and cons of interacting with strangers that come to your shows?
The pros are it can go very well as people really gravitate in and listen to everything. The cons are that people can sometimes get too involved and want to continue to keep trying to have conversation as I'm trying to transition to other subject matter or something else, and now they want to keep like now they are part of the show, but your part of the show is over. Please let me continue on telling these jokes. So I have to, you have to be kind of careful on who you invite in, and it's a fine line of participation versus being a distraction now. Like, and I got to be careful because I kind of started the the back and forth for a moment, but they just got to be smart enough to like, all right, that's enough. But you go to the comedy clubs when people been drinking a lot or they just get real involved and they just want to keep going. And I have to be like, hey, that's it. That's it. I'm on to something else. So that's about the pros and cons of that form of comedy right there.
Mhm. Um, and do you have any performances from your career that were really memorable in a good or maybe bad way that you would like to share?
I mean, there's a lot of good performances. I've had standing ovations and everything. Just I can't really go into like detail of any particular one, but you just know when it's been a good night, it gives you a great feeling, kind of just a real good high of you got through it, you did it, you gave everybody what they came to see. It's just a great night. And then sometimes you have an off night, you just try to be like, on to the next one.
How do you deal with those like nerves if before a show or maybe after it didn't go as well? How do you deal with that like feeling of just
Um,
anxiety when it comes to performing?
I mean, it's just like anything else. Like if you play sports or something, you get that jittery feeling. You just try to like work that nervous energy towards your act, and you just try to like I'm kind of a high energy at times, and I just bring it out there, and it just makes me go a little bit harder versus and I'll be honest with you, not trying to be cocky. I really haven't really had shows where it just didn't hit. So I mean, usually I'm just I can and I just get through it and boom. But for the most part, I've been able to do shows where it was a dead night, then it was my turn, and I turned the whole room around. Like boom, got the and all the other comics are looking like, wow, he did that, man. He did it. So I just try to like I just try to get the crowd to feed off of my energy, and then it just kind of goes through the whole room.
That's great. Out of all like the forms of comedy you've pursued, like you've said, podcasting, you said you were attempting to like write skits or stand up, which has been your favorite and which has been surprisingly challenging for you?
Um, Favorite probably will always be stand up because you can kind of it's just my baby. It's how I started. And the most challenging probably right now is the skits because I'm just starting that. So it's a different avenue, a little bit has to be more, has to be very detailed versus, not a lot of improv here or there. So, but I like the challenge of it, and I like it because it's new and it's just part of the growth process, you know. In this game, if you stay in it, you'll never stop evolving if you just stay with it.
And where do you like draw inspiration if like in the differences between stand up and writing sketches? Is that like a different process for you when finding things to write about? Like how are those two different for you?
Not really, not a whole lot of different as far as the inspiration. Just I just draw things from life, my travels, sometimes in my alter ego, which I say is part of my younger self growing up. So you just a lot of things I take from back then, we take from current events. You know, I talk about a little bit of everything. I try to say, let's see what we all have in common and let me present it from my point of view. Because my point of view is going to be kind of a funny point of view for you. And some people will be like, oh, I never looked at it like that, but that's hilarious. And things of that matter. So yeah, and I kind of I'll walk that line. I'll talk about a little bit about politics, religion, things that they say the comedy Bible said don't talk about. I'm like, I'm gonna talk about a little bit of it. But the key to it is I don't really put my point of view on it. I just talk about what I see, not how I feel about it.
Mm. That's really smart to be objective about it.
Right.
It's not your emotions rather than like, right. That's
Right.
really smart. Yeah. Yeah. I would say, is that how you just attempt like those bigger subjects? Because you see a lot in media, comedians are getting, scrutinized for talking about like sensitive subjects, but I guess it's because maybe they're putting their opinion on it and they're not just being objective with it. Is that what you think when it comes to sensitive topics?
Well, I think nowadays with the addition of social media, everyone has an opinion about something. So when you tell jokes or you do a monologue or even a TED talk, if somebody doesn't agree with it and you have a major platform, they also want to put their 2 cents in, as opposed to many years ago when people just said what they said. There was no platform to challenge that person's thought. Like we didn't have Twitter and Facebook and everything back then. So it comes with the territory. No matter what you say, there's going to always be a person point counterpoint to it, especially as your platform grows. There'll always be a counterpoint to your craft.
So, like speaking of social media, would you say that it's like helped or more hindered comedians right now? Because I know it's a great way to get yourself out there, but it's also can come with that, you
Well,
know, con of having random people give their 2 cents with your comedy.
well, it's definitely helped because
Mhm.
any publicity is good publicity. And the thing is, sometimes people will do or say outrageous things just to get people to pay attention to them. So you just have to kind of watch it. And then sometimes as your platform grows, it will get you more bookings, but you might not be ready for all those bookings just based off of going viral over a 3 minute segment or something. Now they want you to do 45 minutes at a club and you're not ready, but you can put butts in seats right now because everybody's watching you. So that can be that could be a problem for a lot of people. So as we say, you get in the game, you hopefully you're prepared to give people what they pay for if you do get that popularity very quickly or you gain that following of a large um, range of people. So when you go out on tour, you just gotta be ready for it. That's why I said if I get that after 20 years, I'm ready. I'm ready for whatever they want to throw at me.
Mhm. So kind of straying away and asking, like talking about a new subject, how or what new project from a different comedian that they've come out with recently have you been really into? Could be a show, a movie, a special. Is there something that you've been watching recently that you've really liked?
That I've been watching, man, I've been so busy. I haven't really been able to watch anything, but I'm trying to get. I've been watching, and it's not even comedy. I've been watching like shows on. You ever heard of Tubi? The
Yeah.
streaming service. I've been watching a lot of stuff on Tubi, man. That stuff's hilarious. It's like I don't. It's just like the cats is just getting on there, and I mean they doing a thing, but you could just. It's like cheap porn if I don't, and not like you watching porn, but you know like high production porn versus low production porn. Like so, I'm watching some of these shows that are low production. I'm like, this could be a good show if somebody really took a chance on it and really got it going. But you know, right here, you could. I'm like, hell, I could make this with my phone if I wanted to, and things like that. So I'm
Yeah.
watching a lot. I'm watching a lot of stuff like yeah, like Tubi and Crackle, some of the off-brand streaming services right now, just to see what other people are doing, how it's coming up. That's my little hobby right now.
Interesting. Is there, you've said you've worked with a lot of comedians. Is there one that you'd be really interested in working with in the future if you got the opportunity?
Man, I love to work with Kevin Hart. That would be a cool guy. That would, you know, a lot of I think it'd be a lot of knowledge seeing that he's kind of the on top comedian right now, just to kind of pick his brain and see how you know the process of it. And a guy like Chris Rock or Louis C.K., Bill Burr, just some of them heavy hitters of today that would be it would be real great, you know. Just to let y'all know, this is ginseng tea. This is not Hennessy or nothing right here that I'm drinking. I'm just keeping my voice. They probably like he in there getting drunk right now. I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm enjoying my day.
Okay, so what have you been doing in your downtime? You said you don't have a lot, but is there anything like you've just been into
Just
recently that
working,
might not be
working.
related to comedy? Huh?
We just working on the scripts, man, and we just
Yeah.
started filming another batch of shows for the Unk and Nephew podcast, and working on getting booked, submitting, um, doing submissions to a comedy festival. So we working on doing a lot of festivals this fall. So that's you know my downtime. We still working though, still fine tuning the creative process.
Is there a festival that you're really looking forward to and you're hoping to book?
Um,
Like,
I would love to get a submission to Aspen. That's what we're trying to do. So that would be the one right there for me.
if you had a dream venue or festival that you could perform at, do you have one at the top of your head or have you thought
I
about
would
it?
I would love to create my own. I would love to have my
Oh,
own type of venue festival type thing. That would be the bomb for me if I could, and then I could kind of see who I like as an eye for talent to have them submit and come in and do that. That personally, that's my goal for it is to have my own festival and have people come through.
is there an up and coming comedian you've seen recently that you really like you like their work?
Well, like I said, I do Unk and Nephew, and Nephew is Jerrel Beamon. I'm 50, he's 21. So hopefully y'all will be interviewing him real soon. But he's like a real up and coming guy. He recently did the Apollo. He's been out here like right in here, Southwest Ohio. He's like the probably the hottest comedian going right now. So that's one of my mentees. So we just pushing him along. Matter of fact, he's on his way to Chicago right now to do a week up there while I'm doing some things down here. So a lot of people kept saying, when y'all gonna start filming again? I'm like, we both been busy. So he's been doing his projects, I've been doing my projects. So once we get that time, we come back together, and we got some more stuff coming for the fall of 23. So get ready, you'll see, and we'll make sure Slapstick gets that first stream of it. Like boom, there you go. So make sure y'all promote that out there when we start that.
We'll make sure to. Thank you so much. And just as a last question, if you weren't doing comedy, what do you think you'd be doing right now?
Probably teaching or coaching kids, because that's what I used to do. So that if I wasn't doing comedy, I'd be working in being a public servant, working with young people, helping them out. So that would be it right there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. If you want to promote anything else that you're working on, you can do it right now. And those are all my questions. So thank you so much.
All right. Just make sure you put out the Unk and Nephew podcast, Unk with a K and Nephew Pod. It's on YouTube. Tell you people to subscribe to it. And thank you, Maddie. And I appreciate you. Hope to see you guys real soon.
Thank you so much. Have a great rest of your day.
All right. Thank you. You too.